Let's talk about the story from Timcast.com. Female swimmer Riley Gaines assaulted by trans activists while speaking on women's rights. This is proof that women need sex-protected spaces. The video is crazy. The video is absolutely nuts. Let me play this video for you. Is there any? I'll just full size it. Is there audio or what?
There was when I saw it.
Oh, you know what the issue is? There's oh wait, there it is. The issue is that I have it muted. Nope, still no audio. Wait, it's still muted. There we go. And now it's on the wrong channel. We're bad at this audio thing, you guys. What? It's an. I don't think, having been on the ground and actually seen this stuff, I don't think people realize what it's like when a mob forms and comes after you.
It is freaking crazy.
But let me explain something. Here's how it's going to go down. For you, in your city, you are going to be at a grocery store or something, or a restaurant. And someone's going to overhear you talking to your friend saying something like, yo, these BLM people are nuts. They're going crazy. And there's going to be some waitress or woke person who hears you. They're going to find out who you are. They're going to see your name, and they're going to find out where you work. Things like that happened 10 years ago. Things like that have happened 5 years ago. One day, they're going to start posting online. They're going to attack you, and your company is going to be like, I don't know what it is you did or who you talked to, but we cannot have this heat, so we're going to have to let you go. I don't know who you pissed off or why. And you're going to be like, I didn't do anything. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, well, look, man, we don't want to be involved in whatever it is you believe, and your ideologies don't fit this company. They're going to go to your house. They're going to protest your house, because this is what happened in Wisconsin. Does anybody know why they went to that guy's house and protested? He was some random local guy. Made no sense. Here's what happens. The mob. There is no individual who decides we are going to storm into this person's house and kill them. What happens is the mob is just moving amorphously. One person steps out in front. Everyone steps out in one direction. They go to the house, and one person goes up and starts knocking on the door. As soon as that person goes on the porch, it's an invitation to the rest of the mob to go on the porch. The person knocking, then someone sneaks by and tries to jiggle the handle. Someone sees the handle jiggle, and then they pop the handle and push the door open. Another person sees the door go open, and then they stick their head in and look around. Another person sees that person start sticking their head in and say, I guess I'll go in too. All of a sudden now, these people are walking into your house, all being egged on by each other. The snowflake doesn't blame itself for the avalanche. This is how I've seen all riots form. There will be a large group of people. One Antifa guy, will take a water bottle and just throw it straight up in the air. The moment that bottle comes down, then a bunch of people see the splatter, and then they start throwing things too. They're like, oh, people are throwing things. They throw things. So one step at a time, one person moves an inch, another person moves an inch further. And then before you know it, they've kicked your door in, they're rampaging through your house, they're smashing stuff. And then once they go into your room, one guy wearing a mask punches you in your bed, and then someone else sees it, and then all of a sudden they're jumping up and down in your room, stomping on things and smashing things.
There's kids
There's
listening.
videos of this.
I know, but there's like 14-year-olds listening that are going to be having nightmares, man. We got to be careful. I know it is true that you got to be safe. You got to take care of yourself, but you can.
Yeah, get out of cities. Because what I just described, there's actually a video of right now where people are sitting at a restaurant and a mob of people are standing on top of the restaurant tables, kicking the patrons in the face and stomping on them. I'm not just describing something out of the blue.
Right.
I'm explaining videos that have happened. And the guy in his house, when the mob showed up, that mob had set fire to a different house in Wisconsin twice. And so this guy brandishes a shotgun through the window and then puts it down. The police come and arrest him.
Well, and I think he's just describing the nature of kind of a mob dynamic, not necessarily trying to scare 14-year-olds. But I think that this also goes on the inverse for the people that are out there in the streets that are protesting, because the gentleman in the Boogaloo Boys, I forget his name right now, but the guy that had the AK or whatever it was, if you're going to put yourself in that situation, you're also putting yourself in tremendous danger, because if you're a member of the mob and people are all moving towards you in a wave, well, then if someone's armed and they fear for their lives, you don't know what might happen. And maybe that guy had no ill intentions. Maybe, as he's approaching the car, maybe he's genuinely trying to subdue or calm the situation, but you just don't know. So I agree with Tim. I mean, if I think a really good litmus test is look at the outflow population of your state from 2020 to 2021. If you had harsh lockdowns, you probably already had a net outflow, and those people are going to be the people that vote in alignment with your belief systems. So it means that your state is now so hard blue, you're probably never going to have political power in that state again. And this is why I fled California.
Well, and then one thing that scares me with the Riley Gaines video and how she was going to schools and trying to speak, and then they're like, the mob was after her, is the fact that how many times did we grow up hearing, the idea that, well, those are because college kids have been doing this for many decades, of course. However, it seems like it's the intensity and the frequency is only getting worse. However, the idea was that these kids will graduate, they'll get out into the real world, and then the real world will somehow make them normal functioning adults. But
Nope.
We haven't seen that, because now we've seen these kids will graduate, and they will bring that with them to their workplaces. Mm-hmm. I think the New York Times ran a piece the other year, I think it was last year, right, that millennials are now afraid, or older millennials are afraid of Gen Zers who are coming along, because you might be 38, 39, thinking that you're quite liberal and stuff yourself. You're more liberal than your parents, but now
and you don't even know what's coming.
Exactly. The 23-year-old woke kid comes in and he thinks that you are a microaggressor, that you are XYZ.
And this is what Vivek Ramaswamy said when I interviewed him today for the Culture War podcast, that a lot of people thought I forgot exactly how he explained it, but the AI monster was going to be a cyborg with laser eyes, but it's Dylan Mulvaney. It is these young people who have been manipulated by the AI, and it's not intentional, but it's turned them into something out of sync with human civilization, with American civilization. These people live in a world crafted by social media algorithms. They are driven to do things that they think will be perceived as popular. They are weak-willed individuals. And this is leading to people believing insane things, adopting insane behaviors, and engaging in extremely violent tactics.
And sometimes they end up writing code to make the AI.
Let me add,
That's right. It makes it worse.
One thing that is supplemental to the AI ideological takeover. In August of 2011, Barack Obama included in a executive order that you would have every single federal governmental department would implement a DEI department within their institution. So that was the beginning of the end in terms of having any, and keeping in mind, the federal government is the number one, the largest employer in this country. So they were really like the first shot across the bow in terms of including diversity, equity, inclusion, hiring and firing practices, which is really the woke takeover of the business world. Naturally, because so much of the government's contracts are with actual private industry, but they also will now include demands that they also have a DEI department. So in a matter of about 12 years, you went from this concept being almost unheard of to being everywhere.
Is it that the government is not, I assume they can't make private companies start up a department, but are they just saying we're not going to give you funding if you don't?
Not so, actually, because you can include as a requirement in your government contracts that you will only do business with, just like the I think it was the OSHA vaccine mandate. They were saying if you are doing business with a government contractor, well, they're going to have the mandate as well, because that's where the money's coming from. It's taxpayer money, so they can still put the same sort of requirements. It's not force, but it's saying we won't do business with you if you don't have this.
They can't literally storm your offices and demand this one be the DEI room, but they can say we won't give you money, and therefore you can't operate, you can't pay your employees,
Right.
You'll close down. If we are the main source of income, we are your biggest client, then you're stuck.
Very coercive.
That's a really great point that you bring up, because on my show I had a firearms expert kind of guest, and so he would be able to explain this better than I can. I'll try and like reemphasize or kind of boil down what he was saying. He's from Ammo Land, John Crump, so shout out to John Crump. But he was saying with one of Biden's recent executive orders mid-March, how the idea was because the DOD, I think it is, because they work so much with firearms manufacturers, that to put the squeeze on regular, law-abiding citizens who want to buy guns, they'll tell, the gun manufacturer, well, if you want our contract and look how much money we can give you, well, then you can't sell XYZ
Bingo.
firearms or accessories to civilians.
Yep.
And that's how they get you. So I think it's kind of similar to what you were saying.
It's social emotional learning is taking over academia and the education system. Diversity, equity, inclusion is taking over corporate America, as well as obviously governmental departments. And then you have ESG, which is taking over the highest levels of finance. Those are the three evil acronyms that are taking over everything. You spoke to Vivek today. I'm sure he would agree.
Do you think that there's that the market will correct itself?
It's very tough because what you're competing with is a printing press backed mechanism. You have access to not just the law setting, but the setting of interest rates plus the setting of monetary supply.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.